Hey everybody, we're at our properties here in the beautiful Dominican Republic, Punta Cana. So many times we've done Q&As online, but you don't know who's behind the keyboard a lot of times. So now here's one of the faces that answers your questions. My name's Chris. We've got the beautiful Leia. She's going to be asking the questions that you have submitted over the last 2 weeks, and I'll answer as truthfully as possible. I'll keep the profanity out of it, but it's one of those things where I'm going to be completely honest, because I'm going to tell you how it is in my mind. Just going to get those liabilities out of the way. The answers are going to be my opinions. They don't in any way reflect any businesses, the locations that we're at, anybody else in the group. I've just been chosen to answer it out of all of us. So yeah, if you got anything to say, put it on me and nobody else. Let's get into this.
All right, Chris, man, I'm excited. I've spent some time with you here in Dominican, and you know, I've got to know who you are. So I got a couple questions for you.
Shoot.
All right, man. So something that's been important to me, and I always thought about this because growing up in the millennial generation, it's important to ask these questions.
To the old folk.
To the old folk.
Right.
What would you tell those who spend all their money and credit to live above their means?
Oh, we're hitting it hard early. Holy shit.
And let's focus on the image part. Like, you know, living above their means for the image.
See, this is a bad example because there's obviously going to be an age difference between, say, your group and my group. This looks like, you know, you're living large. But this is 2 decades worth of work as an entrepreneur to get here to own property in different countries. So let's go back to the question at hand. You're talking more so for your age group. How important is it to not do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Knowing what I know now, and hindsight's always 20/20, but what you do in your 20s and how efficiently you run your 20s dictates the rest of your lives. It's the most important part of your life. Something as simple as a car payment, what you pay for a car payment, the insurance for it and stuff like that, just the money you put into a car payment, if you invested that through 6 to 8 years of your 20s, means you'd never have to put money away again in your 30s or later on. You just let that grow. In your 30s and 40s, you can just spend all of your money, but what you put away in your 20s sets you up for retirement. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it is 100% true. Investments work with time. It doesn't matter where the markets go. So I guess back to the question, don't look rich. Be rich. It just takes more time. So hopefully that answered what you asked. Okay.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's hard. You see a lot of people in my age generation, and that's what they focus on. So that segues into my next question, man. So what's some financial or investing books that you read, and specifically, who's the public figure that you listen to?
Probably not an answer that someone wants to know, but absolutely none of that. I'm lucky enough to have mentors, you know, they're in the 8, 9, 10, 11 figure net wealth kind of thing. They're the type of people that I go to for knowledge on anything in life, not just investing. I find reading books, you only ever take what you pull off the page. So you may not be getting the message that they're trying to say. And a lot of times those books, the only person that makes money when those books are written are the author and the publishing house. Let's just call it like it is. Somebody getting rich off that information, but it's not the person reading it. It's very hard to stay motivated when you're reading. And when you talk about public inspirational people, they're better talkers than they are actually. They love to get you all riled up, motivational speech. And then you go home, you wake up the next day and you're like, oh damn, now I'm on my own again. And then you just wasted, you know, $500, $1,000, $3,000 for their seminar. So I actually don't listen to or read any of that stuff.
I like that answer, man. I think that's important because getting through a financial advisor book or getting through a book that someone else wrote about their life and how it worked for them is pretty hard to follow through.
Not that there aren't good ones, but because I haven't read them, I can't say which are good and which aren't.
Yeah.
But when people have come to me with, oh, I read this in the book, I'm like, that is 2 decades of an entrepreneur. I'm telling you right now, that is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. And then go through all the different variables that they didn't even think of. They just got you all worked up.
What does retirement mean to you?
Until I got there, I really didn't have a good Like I knew what I thought retirement was. It's, oh my God, you don't work, you do whatever you want, and I got to get a lot of money. Once you get there, it actually just means you own your time. Nobody's punching a clock on you. Nobody's signing your paychecks. I've been busier since retirement because when you get to wake up and do, I don't want to say whatever you want, but whatever interests you, then all of a sudden you take interest in everything you do, which means if you're doing it for a financial gain, your heart's in it, your mind's in it, and you're always focused. So success comes even more after retirement. That's the whole reason to push for retirement as early as possible in life.
That's also something that's important to me, is kind of getting to know your upbringing, like your education, to making the moves to get where you are. How'd you get here, man?
Oh, man. I don't know. I guess I'll be completely honest here. People would call the way I grew up a broken home. Mom, single mom, 3 boys, living on a very, very tight budget, in the 80s kind of thing. And this isn't for a sob story. This isn't even for motivation. Just the question was asked. Basically, I looked at my scenario. No one in my family had wealth. Didn't really have instruction. No one that could guide me along. So I figured I'm going to make the moves that I thought was to get me further ahead. So I did what I thought I could do. I worked hard, that kind of stuff. Working hard isn't necessarily going to get you anywhere, but having the right work ethic you can apply to anything. So I became an entrepreneur at 17. I wasn't doing it right, but I had the mindset that I was going to do it differently, because doing it the average way gets you average things. I don't want a 9-to-5. I don't want the Freedom 65 lifestyle. I didn't know how to get there, but I at least started early doing that. So I was actually importing from Japan going on my 18th birthday. And I had 2 jobs in the meantime to support myself with a business group. And that was completely by accident, but that's a completely different thing.
I'm curious, now that you are where you are, do you allow just regular people to get involved in your business investments or your investment circle?
Regular people. I mean, I'm a regular people. We have allowed, people to be part of what we do. It just gets difficult because without the business mindset, a lot of people think you just give money or you invest and it just goes up. Or how quickly is my return? And it's very difficult to talk to them about that kind of stuff, because there may be no significant return for 6 to 8 to 12 months, in some cases 2 years. And then a lot of people get very, they panic. Much like a lot of people shouldn't play stocks because they do it emotionally. That's a terrible move. But to answer the question, yeah. Anyone who wants to get involved in the kind of stuff we do, whether it's real estate, foreign investment, and all that kind of stuff, everybody eats at our table. Everybody gets to make money. And it's just a matter of being diligent, asking the right questions, and knowing what you want out of something. And then just watching how it unfolds. And then later on, you can do it on your own.
Knowing that, the people that you surround yourself around, the things that you're around, and where you came from, what's your thoughts? Do you think people should put money back into their community? Or if so, how much? If you had a number, what do you think?
That touches on a lot of points. You got a lot of the generation now who think that wealthy people are the enemy. We've indoctrinated our society to believe that money only came from like cons, scams, taking it from people, being some gigantic entity. But what people don't realize is they all have to start from somewhere, and typically they gave you a product that you were buying, so they generated their wealth. And a lot of people think, well, you got all this money, why don't you go solve all the world's problems? And they assume that these people don't do good things because those type of people don't spend their time on social media. You would never know if a Jeff Bezos went and gave $1 billion to a charity, because most of that stuff is done with NDAs. Nobody talks about it. That's a non-disclosure agreement. You wouldn't know that because their life wasn't made or isn't built on social media. They do their stuff. They don't need an applause, a pat on the back. They don't need gratification. They did it because they wanted to. And even if it was for the tax benefits, they still do that. So to circle back to the question, I do believe it's important to give back to your community. I mean, the more you make, the more you pay in taxes. What the government does with that, I can't comment on. But when you start making, you're in the 6-figure club and then the 7-figure club, there really is no tax avoidance. You're giving back your share. So above and beyond that, I leave that up to people. Obviously, we do things that we find important. We always make sure we load up the food bank with as much food as they need during the holidays. No, this isn't me patting myself on the back. We'll leave it at that. We do what we do because we believe we should. I don't put expectations on anybody else.
It's good to hear your viewpoint on that, because obviously this generation is the camera generation. We like to be able to show everything that we do.
Yeah.
So
well, they didn't post it on Instagram,
yeah,
so they clearly
happened.
didn't do anything good for the world.
Yeah. Well, that's a good segue into what I was thinking about. So what would be something you consider your biggest setback to success? We all have setbacks, but what do you feel is something the biggest, maybe even something that made you think about giving up?
To my success, or a usual, like any day, someone trying to get ahead?
I would say any day, even any day. It can go both ways, yours and any day.
Giving a shit what other people think. Get that out of your head right now. If your answer to, go back to that excessive spending as a youth, if your answer for why did you buy that, you didn't need it, well, I don't want people to think, blah, 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 I can't afford it, I'm not doing as well as them, I gotta look good, you look how you feel, you represent yourself, dress for the job that you want, not the one that you have. You think about that shit. You dress for the job you want, not the one you have. That's why you waste your money to look good. The job you want still means you're working for somebody else, because when you're your boss, you determine how. I'm working today. This is work. I'm not lying to you. I got stuff to do. Meetings are at the pool, and that's not a me versus you. That's a do not worry about what other people think, because trying to impress other people is going to cost you too much, and it's going to slow you down. So just go back to that saying. If their opinion ain't making you money, the opinions don't matter. Done.
In regards to everything that's been happening in your life, this is really more so something that's intriguing for me. What was your first investment? What did you first invest in?
Again, I listened to my mom because she worked at a bank as just, a teller. Didn't know back then that, because we had no money, it wasn't the best advice. So I got RSPs. Now, biggest mistake. The moment I learned what RSPs do, I quickly cashed them, took my penalty, and never did that again. Now, I'm not saying it's not a good idea for you, because if that's going to be your only means of saving, investing for retirement, they're great. But when you find out what that's actually going to do to you on the back end, if you do make other money, and you've got your pensions, you've got your other stocks and investments that you have, that combined with that, you're going to end up losing 70 to 80% of everything you put into.
Okay. Good to know. These are things I didn't know about, so that's good to hear.
Some of that stuff gets pretty ugly, and you don't want to find out at 60, 65 that you don't have the money you thought you did.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. We're living in a really crazy world right now, but some people are predicting a massive recession very soon. What's your thoughts? And also, how can businesses that are still reestablishing prepare themselves? We didn't prepare for COVID, so there's a lot of things that I'm intrigued about with that.
Well, if there's still people out there that think that we're predicting that we're going to go into a recession, where have you been since 2014? There's band-aids getting slapped on by our governments handing out money. That only makes it worse. We've been in a recession since 14. But recession means different things to different people. Recession to the average person, they got to worry about keeping their job. Recessions to investors means cha-ching, we're going to be buying all the stuff that we wanted to buy at a fraction of the cost. So don't hate me for saying that. I told you I was going to be honest, because I want people to take what we're saying and change the way they think. Instead of just getting mad at me for saying that, say, how do I be one of those people next time this happens? Set yourself up differently. That's what I'm getting at. People thought, and again, don't care what people think. Back in 19, when, this is even before COVID, my people internationally said, look, something something's going to be happening big time in the next 6 months. They didn't know it was COVID. They just knew some type of market. It just kept doing this since like 13, 14. That doesn't happen. You got inflated markets and all that kind of stuff. They're like, liquidate whatever you don't actually need and have as much liquidity as possible. So back in August, September of 19, I liquidated my cars, bought back a pretty penny, high 6 figures, got rid of my watches. Everybody's like, oh, Chris bankrupt. He's broke now. He don't have his AP. He don't have his gold Rolex. I never really wore that shit anyways, but it was just one of those things that you acquire either as gifts from business or you treat yourself every once in a while. So I got rid of it all, which gave me a huge sum of liquidity to start buying. And then COVID hits. No one expected it, but man, we got some stuff pretty cheap. We'll end that there because the more I talk about that, I think people are going to get more mad.
Well, I appreciate your honesty. Let's change it up a little bit. I think that people want to know this about you. Yep. You know, they see you in this beautiful place. They see what you're doing out here. I got some questions for you. This will kind of help those around you. Okay. So, what would you prefer? A Uber, a taxi, or a rental to explore for the day?
I'm going to assume because people knew we were going to be in the Dominican, they mean here. And I actually know who asked that question. Pat, this one's for you. I know you'll be down here soon. To be completely honest, rent a car, but be prepared for some crazy ass traffic. People on scooters doing like, there's lights, but I think everybody here is colorblind. And I mean that in the most endearing way. The people here are absolutely amazing, but they got their lives. The thing is, you can have erratic traffic when everybody works together and they respect each other. So you got people doing weird shit all day. It's going to be stressful from the North American standpoint, but I saw one accident, and that's because someone wasn't paying attention. He rear-ended someone because he was on the phone. Other than that, I haven't seen any other contact. So my answer to you, rent a car. We actually have another YouTube segment where we got trapped up in the north because one of our vehicles broke down, and the YouTube episode is basically how to get around the island when you don't have a car. So, but my answer is rent a car, but I have other options for you like buses, Ubers, and all that kind of stuff. So keep on the YouTube channel.
I got a nice little surprise for you from someone on your channel. Let's go Oilers.
Ooh, that question probably came in a little earlier than this is going to be. You know what? Yeah, that hurt. You know, Colorado, we're coming for your ass next year. But you know what? The boys put in a really, really solid effort this year. And yeah, what an absolute, I mean, Leon and McDavid, come on. The dream team. That's going to go down in history as just two amazing players playing on a team. But you look at everybody else that stepped up. You know, you had Kane there. Hyman was doing crazy things. Nuge has been doing this for us for, a decade. I love watching these boys play when things are clicking. So yeah, damn right. Go Oilers, go. We got our tickets. We'll see you in the box next year.
So I got something from, it looks like a close friend of yours. He said, Supercar private party is booked for July 2nd. We're starting from the B's in the afternoon and cruising to the marina to yacht it up. You better bring your ass and some cigars. And that's from Damon.
Damon. All right, man. I'm there. I'll be back in Canada by then. We actually just stopped to get 8 or 9 boxes of cigars, so I got enough. And if there isn't, that's what fast freight is for. I'm there.
So we're getting a little deep now. Somebody asked the question, how do you feel about feminism? What a change.
Wow, this one I think people just set you up to
dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, to take some. I honestly don't have an opinion because I'm not a woman, so I don't know what has gone through women's lives and experiences to get them to the point where they actually have to fight for something. Why should anybody have to fight for equality? The word feminism, equality, like just racial discrepancies, anything that is not equality should never have to be fought for. So I don't think someone should ever have to fight to be proud of who they are. So you do you. If that's where your mind is, because that's where your experience has brought you, more power to you. I'm absolutely serious with that. So I can't give I'm a guy. Here's a saying that I came up with a little while ago. The word equality should not exist. Because the only reason you need a word to describe everyone being equal is when people are not. How is that even a thing? It's 2022. We're fighting for equality. I'm sorry. That just seems like the dumbest thing a progressive society has ever had to fight for. Come on. There's people not eating in the world. There's people raising kids on minimal budgets. There's people in the streets. Homelessness is at an all-time high in North America. And we're worried about having to fight for something that should just be a God-given right. So I'm sorry. I'll leave that one there.
I like that answer, man. It was very, very well put. I appreciate that.
Sorry I'm drawing out a lot of these answers too much. I swear I'll make them quicker.
What's the deal with the new equity group?
Oh. Okay, well this one ain't going to be quick. Well, obviously, I'm sure you saw, during COVID we started the lifestyle group, and it was less flash and glam and all that kind of stuff, and it was more so the lifestyle of giving back to your community. So I guess that circles back to giving back, like what people should give back. That originally started because, much like everybody else, when the world shut down, we were stuck back in Canada. We had this marketing and travel budget that we didn't need anymore, so we just started the page and we gave everything away. We worked with businesses we'd buy a couple $1,000s worth of gift certificates from our friends' restaurants, and then we'd give them away along with some cash, just to make, alleviate things so people knew that there were people in the city looking out for them. As soon as the pandemic ended, or whatever you call this, we shifted focus because we had to get back to business. So it's, acquiring properties, developing, just everything that we do, both domestic and foreign. So yeah, now we're just going back to pre-pandemic, and we're showing the world what it is we do. And we met a lot of good people during the pandemic who came on. A lot of them became members, and they wanted to not really invest with us, but invest with us. They wanted to be along the way, building these houses, coming on trips, seeing what we do around the world. So that's what the equity group is. If anybody ever has any more questions, feel free to make a comment and we can go through it in more detail.
So, question for you.
Yep.
And I think this will sit well with you, and I think your followers know you very much.
Okay.
Favorite car, and this is favorite car in the world.
So I don't have to own it.
Don't have to own it.
Ferrari F40.
Ferrari F40.
Okay.
Now, favorite car you've ever owned.
Ooh. So I think the one I like being seen in the most was my 458. But I think my absolute favorite car was either my first Mark IV Supra. I had a pearl white twin turbo, left-hand drive, or, and this is completely opposite spectrum, a 1972 Datsun 510. You're talking shitbox over here and two other very beautiful cars, but I loved that thing. It had no power brakes, none of that. And I raced the shit out of that, and I loved it. That was back before I had a budget, so I enjoyed every single penny that I spent on that car.
So, out of all of the cars you ever owned, which one do you regret selling the most?
My first Mark IV Supra. Wow. Not just because the prices have skyrocketed, but that was in high school. A friend of mine, Kyle, that was his favorite supercar, and I was like, nah, man, you need some domestic muscle or some European flair, exotics. So then I started researching it more. I'm like, damn, that is awesome. But that was $86,000 back when I was in high school. I didn't have that kind of money. I didn't have that kind of money till I was in my late 20s. So when I had the money, I bought one. So to me, it symbolized more something that took me 10 years to get. And when I sat in it, I didn't care if you were looking at me. I was looking at me. And I was in what I wanted. So,
good question here. Whomever asked this, great job. How would you coach someone to push through discomfort?
I'm assuming discomfort doesn't feel good, does it? So if it doesn't feel good, you just think about how it doesn't feel good and how you want to feel would feel good. I know that sounds overly simplistic, but let's say get punched in the face. Does that feel good? No. Then what do? You back out of it. And you take another route where you're not getting punched in the face. That's a really maybe poor analogy, but think of where you are. If you don't like it, find a way to change it. And that should be enough to motivate you to get out of your situation.
All right.
Good
All
question,
right.
though. Good question.
I thought it was. Yeah,
was
it's
nice.
definitely, everybody deals with things in life a lot different, but it's a great answer. Good question here, man. How do you get your business partners or clients to make a decision? And I can actually say, seeing you here, I've seen a bit of how you've done that, so it'll be nice to hear the answer to this.
I'm going to segue off the last one. If you're trying to get someone to make a decision, show them why the option that you're not looking for, or maybe they're just very poor at coming to the same agreement. Think of it like a jury. Prosecution or defense is trying to convince you of something. They take the way it is and they want you to look over here. All you got to do is present the right information, and that's the key to absolutely everything. If they need to make a decision because something isn't the way it should be, it's not working here. This is how it'll work. Present the workable options.
What is the best way to build trust? And it looks like this person asked this question and it's pretty open-ended, so it doesn't
Best way
mean...
to just build trust?
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to go back to that old school saying, your word is your person. That respect that comes from doing what you say you're going to do. Trust doesn't come easily. So just be good to your word. That's it. And don't. A lot of people be like, oh, so a good reputation. The reputation is how the world knows you. Your character building is what defines you. Build good character. Reputation is good at the beginning, but as it gets, you're doing bigger and bigger things with your life, you need good character, because then people will vouch for you. So there's no quick answer for that one. But hopefully I gave you what you needed to hear.
Best general advice that you can give. That's a big wide range.
Yeah, because we came off like finances, a couple personal questions. Stay in your own lane. Everybody's trying to look the part, walk the part, talk the part, but you'll notice very few successful people are out there talking about themselves, trying to get you to believe something in them, about them. Use that in your life. If you got time to gossip, if you got time to party, if you got time to just be negative, whether it's on social media or out in public or like that, you got time to hustle. So my best general advice is use your time, because your time is the only thing you can't get back. Everybody's worried about the almighty dollar. But guess what? When you got the dollar and you got time, only one of these can get you the other. There it is. That's what we're getting at. Value your time and you'll stop wasting it. When time is your currency, you will stop wasting it and you will become successful.
This next question is a really good one. I don't know if I've ever thought about this, but do you think chivalry exists without sex as the desired result?
So like, would guys be nice to women without, or vice versa, without trying to get in their pants?
Yeah.
What I see out there now, again, my definition of chivalry and the rest of the world might be a little different. I grew up during a time where, again, coming from a single home, I was with my grandma a lot. She was taking care of us when mom was working, and I think just having the right morals and ethics and just, to me, I don't call it chivalry. I wouldn't think twice about opening a door for someone. I don't need to sleep with you to open a door. And this isn't me patting myself on the back. I don't know why you have to call it something. I just call it decency and respect. But it is weird. You do get weird looks from people when you open doors. They're wondering what game you're trying to play. What are you rolling on me? Like why are you doing something nice? And I just So to answer that question, I'd say if we're calling chivalry doing something nice for our lady, yeah, I think most of it is being done for the desired effect. But I don't even like the term. This shit should just happen. A man does those things out of respect and just decency. I can't say what boys do.
This one next doesn't seem like much of a question,
Okay.
more so a statement, but I know that you'll find a way to definitely communicate this.
The delivery on this question.
Guys like you are the reason that average guys can't get women. They're all after status and money.
Guys like me, are you serious? I'm 5'9", I'm pasty ass white with some bad tan lines. I don't know who did this, I ain't even gonna get mad. Which women are you after? Is that a shot at me or is that a shot at women? It's almost like you took a shot at me and then got mad at women for being gold diggers. Maybe you need to start looking for women in different places. And you know what? You should be thankful for a guy that takes those type of women out of your life, because that's not someone you should be after. So what do you care where they go? There's what, 3.6 billion women in the world, and you're worried about the ones that go over here? And who cares if they want money? At least they've made that decision. Who are you to judge them? Like that's kind of a silly question. Trust me, I ain't taking nobody's girl. Wow. I think you need to reprioritize your life. And if you think it's a problem, go make your own money and then have your supposed pick of the litter. Because I know tons of girls that make their own money, and I know tons of girls that do not give a shit about your car, your house, your vacations. You need to meet the right women.
I've been trying to date for over 3 years with no luck. Where are all the real men at?
Much like how I responded to the probably guy before that, it's where you're looking. In no situation should a guy ever disrespect a woman. Men don't do that. So I can't really speak for where you're meeting them. I know throughout my travels, there are certain parts of the world where women get no respect and are treated poorly. But I don't know what real man means. Like I don't know. Are you? Is there superficial qualifications and quantifications in there? Like I got no answer for you. I can't be like, oh, go to the library. You're gonna find yourself a good, smart, educated man there, or some stuff like that. Because you're gonna find nice people in places, and you're gonna find assholes in places. So I'm sorry. It's unfortunate you're having bad situations, but I don't know. I'm not looking for men, so I couldn't tell you where to find the good ones. I mean, I know there's one in a pool in Punta Cana, but that's just my opinion. I wouldn't believe it.
Another good segue that someone asks you, what are you looking for in a partner?
Ooh, that question's always difficult because I don't know how it works with everybody else, but I don't have like a checklist. You know, height. I'm not like an ass or a boob guy or like it's something like that. Anytime I've ever found myself with someone, they're typically just good people. Because I have very little. It's not one of those things where, you know, right at the beginning you're in lust, so you forgive issues that are going to come up later. I don't think with him most of the time, so I usually end up falling for someone, being interested in someone, usually by interaction. I don't do that one night stand shit and stuff like that. So to ask me that question, I really don't. Usually someone who's respectful. If they're on their phone all the time, that means the conversation ain't happening. So that's probably a real no. But yeah, that's a tough question. I don't have a type.
Good question here. Why do women use sex as a weapon or means of manipulation?
Wow.
You're just in the hot seat.
Someone's trying to bury me on these.
You know?
The easy answer, because they can. You make it so easy, guys. If you'd stop being so desperate, they'd stop using it. Let's call it like it is. It's like saying, why do you use a gun in a fight? Because that's easy. If all you're after is sex, well, what do you think she's going to use her against you when you piss her off? That's kind of, it answers its own question.
Why do women attack a man's masculinity when they don't get what they want? Another good question that kind of segues into that, man.
Well, how do you... We all have a sense of pride, or at least our egos. You attack someone's ego when you can't... You know, when you don't have anything intellectual to say, you attack superficiality, you attack egos and stuff like that. It's usually hurt people that attack, so who knows why they do it. But when you go after a man's masculinity, you know that hurts, especially in front of other men. So again, it's the easiest target. So that's pretty self-explanatory as well. You're not going to be like, well, you just stupid. I don't think that one's going to hurt too much.
Do you believe an attractive female has an advantage?
Wow, I shouldn't open this up to any question. Okay. Again, very vague topic. Are you talking in life? Are you talking getting her way? Are you talking in business? Because something like that, like I do believe that an attractive female, you can get into a club easier. You don't pay cover. You're going to get more attention, so you have more selection from, let's say, a desired partner. You have more options in that regard. But I think it's actually a detriment, just because people will only quantify you by your looks. You can have PhD, you could be an entrepreneur, and all anyone's going to say is, oh, she got there because of her looks. They don't think that how much work it takes to get somewhere. People just want to quantify people and knock them down. And again, going back to the easy superficial, oh, it's easy when you're beautiful, or you got big boobs, or you like this and that. I actually think it's harder for good-looking people, good-looking women. Good-looking men, unfortunately, there's a double standard. They have a better presence in a room. They get more attention. For some reason, a good-looking man is completing a man, especially in business. But a good-looking woman will only ever be a good-looking woman, even if she's the CEO. And that's where that bullshit comes in nowadays. It's unfortunate. So yeah, back to get to the question. Being an attractive female gets you out of the entry-level stuff, but it does not help you in the success side of things. Actually, you know, I'm going to go into an example there. I don't like heating up topics, but I'm going to give you an example. It's a good example, but an unfortunately bad one. I had a friend come to me. She was hiring for her company that she owns. She built it from the ground up, and she said, here's the applicants, and these are the final 3. Can you listen to it? Give me your opinion on who maybe I should hire, because they all seem qualified to me. So we went through the process. All three of them were ladies. They were all great, but the one that stood out the most, had the most respect, had the most credentials, had worked the hardest, was also the prettiest. And that's why she asked me, she's like, I was thinking the same thing, but do you think it's going to look bad if she holds this title? And I said, oh, that's tough. I know where you're coming from, but you know what? It's not fair to not give it to her because you're worried about how other people are going to perceive her. She's put in her time. She's put in her education. She's got the experience. You give her the job. But it had to be questioned because what other people were going to think looking at a beautiful woman in that position. It's unfortunate. That's just, the world ain't always fair.
If you could change one thing about your past, what would it be and why?
Nothing. Sorry, I gotta jump on that one. I hate those type of questions. People think they're so profound and provocative and mind, wrenching. No, I like where I am now. If I change any detail, my failures, my pains, the anguish, the hardships, the pleasures, if I change any of those, I might not be right here. Doesn't mean maybe I wouldn't have been better. Maybe I was worse. But I know I'm happy. I'm happy right here. So no, I ain't changing nothing. Nothing. Not at all. I'll take it all. And I'll do it again.
Then how do you deal with the haters?
See, one of those questions I think people focus too much on. Who says you have to deal with the haters? This circles back to a question at the beginning where I just said, if someone's opinion ain't making you money and ain't paying your bills, you ain't sleeping with that opinion, it's not an opinion of any value. So how do I deal with haters? I don't. They don't live my life. They don't put in my hours. I'm not worried whether people say, oh, life must be nice to be you. Oh, it's so lucky to do what you do. Or, oh, you're just money, or you're just this, or you're just that. It's just an opinion, and it ain't mine, and I don't have to care. It doesn't mean be an asshole, but if someone's just beating on you for no reason, that's how you deal with them. You don't.
What would you have done differently if things hadn't worked out for you? And did you have an alternate plan if things didn't work out the way that you did them?
No. I don't like a secondary or a plan B. If you premeditate a plan B, and don't get me wrong, it's good to be prepared along the path. Like if this is the path you're going, you think you know how you're doing it, and you may have to deviate. It's good to have those plans. I don't like a plan B, like if this fails, I'm going to do this. Because the moment you start thinking about what you're going to do if and when you fail, the word when is in there. You're programming yourself to believe that failure is an option. Sorry, failure is not an option. You can adjust, you can adapt, you can pivot, you can rotate. You keep your eye on the prize and don't have a plan B. Otherwise, you become plan B, and that's mediocrity. Sorry. That's just the way I think. It may not apply to anybody else.
How do you explain to your friends that you're working on yourself and you don't have time to hang out that often?
That is a big one. I see that a lot. People getting their hustle on, their side hustle, their tertiary hustle when it ain't easy making out there. And I get it. But know this. Don't worry about everybody being your friend. The key word in there is, how do you tell your friends? Your friends, they know you're in the middle of your struggle and your hustle. They're always there. That's what made them friends in the first place. If people are leaving just because you don't have as much time, that means those are the people that needed your time selfishly. They weren't this. You're not losing anyone important. So don't worry about explaining it to them. Your friends know.
Have you ever considered being a motivational speaker?
I get asked that one a lot. The answer is no, because I'm a demotivational speaker, and I'll explain that. I'm not one of those people that are going to pat you on the ass and fist bump you and be like, high five, you doing it, son, all that kind of shit. No, not at all. No, I'm going to correct you, and I'm going to tell you you're doing it wrong if I see that you're doing it wrong. So to a lot of people, they're going to take that as oh, you're over-criticizing me. That's not how you deal with sensitive people. You're right, it's not. That's why I'm not a motivational speaker. What I will do is I will use 2 decades of my experience in business and just life, as well as give you resources that my friends I have access to help you get the best result for you. But me, I'm not a rah-rah, I'm not a yes man. I'm not going to tell you that your ideas are good just because it's what you want to hear and it makes you feel good when you go to bed. No, we want to efficiently get someone successful in whatever they're doing, whether it's relationships, business, life, whatever it is. The truth and experience and knowledge get you further ahead, not motivating people. People find their own motivation, and it isn't just telling them their ideas are the best and awesome and all that kind of stuff.
This seems like a really good close friend saying this to you, but okay. Misha, big guy, are you ever going to have a big group come down there to celebrate?
Yeah, I know who that is. Absolutely. We're planning for, looks like November, for a large group. You got to give us time to, the world just opened back up. We're acquiring more properties. We definitely want to be able to house everybody. But I mean, we've got affiliate resorts around here, some large chains that can hold a lot of people. So absolutely, we're going to have people down here. We'll do tours to, we can take people to the distillery, the cigar factory, the coffee factory, all the fields where everything is grown, snorkeling, scuba diving, day trips on the yacht. Yes, to answer your question, absolutely we're going to be bringing people down. This isn't for us, this is for other people to enjoy.
Crazy question here. Don't know what this means, but I'm sure you do. Okay. Where's Miss Toppings?
without having any context and be like, I don't know. I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it wasn't directed at me. I don't know. I wish I had an answer for you.
Good question here, and I think I know your answer just from learning you a little bit. Okay. Most beautiful country you've ever visited?
Ooh, that is so subjective. I've seen some amazing things around the world. Thailand was absolutely beautiful. You ever take one of those longboat tours through the lotus gardens and you just motor off, just quick paddle or like slow paddle, and you get through the lotus? That was beautiful. The markets were beautiful. The people were so nice. I don't know, because we were in Africa building that school in 2020, and it's surprising. You see a lot of videos about Africa and you just think it's a desert, but I don't know, just the The people there are so nice. We were in Tanzania, in the town of Arusha, building a school, and then we went over to the island of Zanzibar, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't got an answer for that. There's beauty everywhere. Ridiculous. Yeah.
So where's the best food in the world? Great question, whoever asked this.
Now I like this.
Yeah.
This we can do. Oh, I'm actually, you know, people think that when I eat, I like extravagant stuff because I was traveling, checking off the world's top 50 restaurants, all the Michelin stars, the top 50, the San Pellegrino top 50 restaurants. While that is a really cool experience, I love street food. And I think this goes back to something like Thailand. I love street food in Thailand. I love getting street tacos in Mexico. Japan, oh my God, the stuff you can get if you go to the right places there. So I don't really have an answer. I typically gravitate towards Latin or Asian street food. So I'm sorry that's a little vague, but you never go wrong. You never go wrong when you do it that way.
What is it that makes you visit the Dominican so much?
A lot of our products are here. For those who don't know, we started with rum. Then as that expanded and started going throughout the world, we kind of had like a little niche market, people asking us for cigars, so we got into cigars. And then recently we actually got into the coffee game, which is hilarious, because if you'd known me 20 years ago, didn't drink, didn't smoke, don't smoke, and I was the world's worst Italian. I really didn't take up drinking coffee until I was in my 30s. But so that, I mean, and if I needed any other reasons, business is one of them.
All right, here's a good question. Not sure if you're gonna have a direct answer for this, but I think I know where you're going. Where have you found the most or best looking people in the world?
Now, are we talking, you think, just physical beauty or beautiful people? Like, you know, there's good people and then there's pretty people, you know?
I'll help you with that one. How about this? I'll say start with good people.
Good people. Ooh.
Just
anywhere I've traveled that's considered third world, that's where I found all the best people in the world. When you remove, I'm gonna phrase this properly and carefully, when you remove materialism and people aren't fighting to keep up with the Joneses, I find you get the best people, because they don't care if you have a bigger house. They're not gonna knock you for having a bigger house than them. They're not gonna knock you for having a better car than them. They're not gonna waste all their money on this climb, because it's true equality in a third world country, because 99% of people have nothing. Nothing, unfortunately, is equality. So what you get is you get good, honest people who wake up, they work hard, all they're concerned about is waking up, having a healthy family, putting food on the table, and you get the most honest, purest people there. I love people in the Dominican. I love people in Africa. You travel to the poorer parts of China, these people will take their shirt off. That saying that's overused all the time, these people will give you their last dish of food. When I was in Africa, this is tough, this breaks me up, this one hurts. When we were in Africa, they brought us food when we showed up. Do I look like I need to be eating food? That hurts. In a country where food is scarce, they're bringing it to you because you're doing them this favor of building a school. That took me months to get over. Don't trivialize stuff that you don't think is important, because somewhere else it's someone else's life. Know that. Know that.
I appreciate that answer, man. Yeah, and whomever asked that question, I appreciate that question.
But visually, if you wanted to travel for pretty people, I'm a bit biased. Canada's got such a diverse population because everybody comes there from around the world, and when you get the blending, some just amazingly beautiful people walk around on the street. But if you're going abroad, I really enjoy my time in Paris. It's a different look, you know. it's a real empowering look when you see someone walking around the streets of Paris in the morning. You can have a woman dressed to the nines. She could be wearing a sheer top with no underwear underneath, and she's owning it. She doesn't care if you're looking. She's not prepared to get into an argument with someone about the way she looks, because she's confident. She's not doing it for anyone around her. She's not looking to do it to start a fight. It's just the way she is. And like the guys, they'll get done up, properly shaven. They'll put a suit on or whatever they need that day, and they're going to do what they do. So maybe it isn't the clothing, maybe it isn't their actual physicality, but it's the presence that someone like that with pure confidence has, and I actually find that very attractive.
Best sand beaches in the world.
Oh, Zanzibar was deadly. My mind went straight there, so I'm thinking that's going to be number one. You get some nice stuff around Dominican. We've seen some really nice beaches here. Thailand as well. Got to book a trip to the Philippines. I'm told it's gorgeous there. Greece is nice. Italy's a bit more gravelly, kind of like Greece. No, I'm gonna stick with Zanzibar. That's like the Instagram capital of the world when you need a beach.
I think this is more of a request than a question.
Okay.
But they stated, please post more travel videos to your YouTube channel, which I feel like you have come in lots and lots.
Yes, that'll be. It takes so long to edit videos and stuff like that to get them ready, make sure you know how the production goes. We will have a ton up, and we'll post that link to the YouTube channel coming up here in the next week or two. I mean, if you're watching this, it's already happening.
And last but not least,
okay,
where is the best place that you enjoy in Dominican?
Ooh. Probably wherever I am at the moment. You know, because I haven't done the whole island. Yesterday in Casa de Campo, you think when you think like a billionaire's playground, it's going to be parties and yachts and just extravagance everywhere. But the reality is, billionaires don't like that. They don't have time for that. Like, yeah, they'll throw the odd yacht party, they'll do some cool stuff, but when they want to get away, they want the opposite of that. So when you go visit people in Cap Cana is really good as well, but in Casa de Campo, everything's nicely laid back. You want to go shopping, you go to this area. You want to go have some great food, you go to this area. Nothing blaring in your face all the damn time. You want to see the yachts, you want to go out for the day, then you go to the marina. You want to play golf, you play golf. You want to go down to these gigantic pools in front of the ocean. I know that sounds a little silly, but Cap Cana was nice. I like Bahibe Dominicus, but Casa de Campo is... And that finalizes everything?
Yeah, man, that was the last question. I think you had such a great group of people asking you questions.
That was diverse.
Amazing.
That was diverse.
I think I got to know you more than I have the last few days that I spent with you, man. So that's awesome.
And thank you for taking time asking the questions. It adds a nice level of personality, because I'm dull and monotone most of the time, so it's good to kick it up a little bit. We out.